with the sound of reveille and with all that meant to soldiers in that time of 1918. This 2-minute silence is done. Your memories have been recorded, and life as those that gave their lives for may carry on. At the Cenotaph, the president of the Western Front Association lays his wreath on a cenotaph that is almost itself awash with wreaths from yesterday's march past. All the senior executives and those responsible for keeping alive the memory of the Western Front Association and all the events that took place in the trenches follow suit. And in Al-Rawas too, wreaths are being laid by those who have gathered. The representatives of the Royal Navy, the Army, and the Air Force. And all those names behind them. Servicemen and women who've lost their lives since the Second World War, always remembered and held aloft in that extraordinary sculpture by others, the one who has lost their lives, as all those who have gathered here with responsibility for laying wreaths for different reasons follow on from the Duchess of Edinburgh, who laid the first wreath on behalf of the King. Al-Rawas is a special place in the centre of a great garden of memorials as we listen to the music that's played out there. And at the Cenotaph, younger representatives from their schools, plenty of schools, were encouraged by the Western Front Association to take part in and understand better what their predecessors faced in battle and to teach another generation of the cost of war, and that it's important to remember and to dedicate each generation to avoiding anything like the conflagration of that appalling First World War. But of course, the armistice led to the Treaty of Versailles, and it in itself was deemed to be one of the principal reasons that the world again found itself, only a short time later, in the middle of another conflagration worldwide in the Second World War. And it is for that reason that, again, the hope is each generation will learn and each generation will remember and each generation will struggle to ensure nothing of the like should occur again. Each of the faces you see here laying a wreath like your own, full of their own thoughts and reasons, and whatever your thoughts have been during the 2-minute silence, they probably aren't wildly different from those shared by all those who remove their hats in salute to this cenotaph. Poets throughout time, but particularly since and during the First World War, have struggled to encompass the loss of youth and the pitiless nature of combat and the aspiration of every generation, never again. More of the cadets, the pride and immaculate way in which the cadets are encouraged to find within themselves a sense of duty and respect which they are taught by their adult volunteers, and for them preparation for this day to as much a moment of respect for them as for the chiefs of the defence staff who were all here yesterday, laying their wreaths pretty much exactly where those young people do today. Service representatives who have come here and who play their part in supporting the work of the Western Front Association step forward to lay their wreaths on behalf of the Royal Navy, the Army and the Royal Air Force. And each of them carrying their medal ribbons and the stories that those tell of their service, the danger they faced, and the camaraderie that they have gained, but also very often people they trained with when they were younger who have either been injured, not necessarily physically, but perhaps in their memories. As we see now representatives of the Indian Army that paid such a heavy price so far away from India and what is now Pakistan and Bangladesh, but they came in multitudes to serve and to fight in the First World War, so far away from the lands that they knew. And representatives from China, again reminding us of what a world war it was. Also representatives of the Muslim faith and from the West Indies. So many people have come here to find time on this Monday, Armistice Day, to represent and reflect. The 2-minute silence came from a tradition that began in South Africa during the First World War, where, because of the cost to the cities there in Cape Town and Johannesburg, there were regular silences held by those who were mourning and grieving, and it did so much to capture and enhance, as a very simple ceremony, the idea of stopping and being together and remembering the cost of war, that it became the way. And nations that took part in the First World War on all sides adopted silence as a means to reflect. And still, when sadnesses occur outside war in civil life, silences are used as a way to collectively bring people together.